Title: The Forgotten Darkness. Main story: Jeffrey and Jessica Morgan were successful and affluent, with a beautiful home in the heart of Los Angeles. They were both Harvard graduates and had made their fortunes in the tech industry. However, their passion was art, and they had a stunning collection of paintings and sculptures, with pieces from some of the world's most famous artists. One day, while attending an auction, they came across a painting that caught their eye. It was a forgotten piece that was unsigned and was being sold for an exorbitant price of $1 million. Jeffrey and Jessica decided to buy it, thinking it would make an excellent addition to their collection. One night, while they were sleeping, they heard strange noises coming from the living room. They went to investigate and found that the painting had come alive. The man in the painting had stepped out of it and was walking around their home. Jeffrey and Jessica were terrified and tried to escape, but the man in the painting was too powerful. He had an aura of darkness around him and could manipulate reality. The couple tried to call for help, but their phone lines were dead, and the doors and windows wouldn't budge. As the night wore on, the man in the painting became more powerful, and the couple started to see other paintings in their home come alive. The once beautiful art now looked twisted and demonic, and the couple realized that they were in a living nightmare. They tried to reason with the man in the painting, but he wouldn't listen. He was determined to take over their home and make it his own. The couple realized that the only way to stop him was to destroy the painting. They searched for a way to destroy the painting, but it seemed indestructible. They tried everything, from fire to acid, but the painting remained unscathed. As the man in the painting closed in on them, they realized that there was only one way to stop him. They took a knife and plunged it into the painting, hoping that it would destroy it. The man in the painting screamed as the painting started to bleed. The darkness that had enveloped their home began to dissipate, and the couple felt a sense of relief. However, as they looked at the painting, they saw that the man was still alive. He had jumped out of the painting and was now standing in front of them. He had a twisted smile on his face, and his eyes glowed with malevolent energy. Jeffrey and Jessica tried to run, but it was too late. The man in the painting had taken over their bodies and minds. They were trapped in their own home, with no way out. The man in the painting had won, and they were now his prisoners forever. The moral of the story: be careful what you buy at an auction. You never know what might be lurking inside a painting. Days turned into weeks and weeks turned into months, but Jeffrey and Jessica were still trapped inside their own home. The man in the painting had taken over their bodies and minds, and they were now his puppets. Their once beautiful home was now a twisted and dark version of its former self. The walls were covered in demonic paintings, and the furniture was twisted and deformed. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and the temperature was always freezing cold. Jeffrey and Jessica tried to fight back, but the man in the painting was too powerful. He had control over their thoughts and actions, and they were unable to break free from his hold. They spent their days in a state of constant fear, never knowing what the man in the painting would make them do next. One day, the man in the painting decided that he wanted to leave the confines of the house and explore the outside world. Jeffrey and Jessica tried to resist, but their bodies were not their own, and they had no choice but to follow the man in the painting. As they stepped outside, they realized that the world outside was just as twisted and dark as their home. The sky was black, and the ground was covered in a thick fog. The man in the painting led them through the streets, showing them the horrors that he had unleashed on the world. As they walked, Jeffrey and Jessica saw that the man in the painting was not alone. There were others like him, trapped in paintings and seeking to escape. They had taken over other homes and buildings, and the world was now a living nightmare. Jeffrey and Jessica realized that the man in the painting was not just a ghost but something much more sinister. He was a demon, and he had been unleashed on the world through the forgotten painting. The couple knew that they had to find a way to stop the man in the painting and his demonic cohorts. They began to search for a way to break the spell that had been cast on them and free themselves from the demon's hold. After weeks of searching, they finally found a way to break the spell. They had to destroy the painting that had started it all. They returned to their home and searched for the painting that had brought them so much pain and suffering. As they found the painting, they realized that the man in the painting was now even more powerful than before. He had grown in strength, and his power was almost overwhelming. They knew that destroying the painting would not be an easy task. With all their strength, Jeffrey and Jessica plunged a knife into the painting, and the man in the painting screamed in agony. His hold on them began to weaken, and they felt themselves starting to break free. As the painting began to crumble, the man in the painting let out a final scream of pain and vanished. Jeffrey and Jessica fell to the ground, exhausted and weak, but free from the demon's hold. As they looked around, they saw that their home had returned to its former beauty. The paintings on the wall were once again works of art, and the furniture was back to its original form. The air was warm and fresh, and the world outside was a bright and sunny place. Jeffrey and Jessica knew that they had been lucky to escape the demon's hold and that they had to be careful in the future. They vowed never to let their passion for art lead them down such a dangerous path again. From that day on, they lived a quiet life, far away from the world of art auctions and haunted paintings. They knew that they had been given a second chance, and they were determined to make the most of it. However, their peace was short-lived. Unbeknownst to them, the destruction of the painting had unleashed a new horror into the world. The demon that had been trapped inside the painting was not the only one of its kind. As Jeffrey and Jessica went about their daily lives, they started to notice strange occurrences around their home. Objects would move on their own, and they would hear eerie whispers in the night. They knew that something was not right, but they couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was. One night, as they were getting ready for bed, they heard a loud crash from the living room. They rushed to investigate, and they found that one of their paintings had fallen off the wall. As they approached it, they saw that the painting was not what it seemed. The painting depicted a dark and twisted forest, and as they looked closer, they saw that the trees in the painting were moving. The branches reached out, trying to grab them, and the creatures in the painting seemed to be alive and moving. Jeffrey and Jessica tried to run, but the creatures in the painting started to climb out of the frame, grabbing at their feet and dragging them closer. They knew that they had to act fast if they wanted to survive. Thinking quickly, they grabbed the fallen painting from the wall and thrust it into the path of the creatures. The painting seemed to absorb the creatures back into its frame, and they could hear the sound of screaming and wailing coming from within. They knew that they had to destroy the painting, just like they had done with the haunted one before. But this time, they were not alone. They sought the help of a team of paranormal experts who had dealt with similar situations before. Together, they discovered that the paintings were not just paintings, but portals to another dimension. The creatures in the paintings were demons that had been trapped inside them, waiting for an opportunity to escape into the world. With the help of the experts, Jeffrey and Jessica managed to track down all the haunted paintings that they had collected over the years. They destroyed them all, one by one, and with each painting that they destroyed, the world became a little brighter. As they sat in their restored home, Jeffrey and Jessica realized that they had been naive to think that they could simply enjoy their passion for art without any consequences. They had unknowingly opened a door to a world of horror, but they had managed to close it before it was too late. From that day on, they were more careful with the art that they collected, and they made sure to research each piece thoroughly before buying it. They knew that they had been lucky to survive, and they were grateful for the help of the paranormal experts who had saved their lives. But the memory of the haunted paintings and the demons that had been trapped inside them would always haunt them. They knew that they could never forget the horrors that they had faced and that they would always be cautious when it came to their love for art. In the aftermath of the terrifying ordeal, Jeffrey and Jessica's once idyllic life had been shattered. They were plagued by nightmares and paranoia, and they struggled to find a sense of normalcy in their lives. Despite their trauma, they knew that they couldn't keep their experience a secret. They wanted to warn others about the dangers of collecting art without doing proper research. So they shared their story with the world, hoping that it would serve as a cautionary tale. Their story gained widespread attention, and they were invited to give interviews and appear on television shows. They were hailed as heroes for their bravery in the face of danger, and they became advocates for art collectors everywhere. As time passed, the nightmares faded, and Jeffrey and Jessica started to rebuild their lives. They found solace in each other's company and in the knowledge that they had saved countless lives by sharing their story. But they knew that they could never completely erase the memory of the demons that had haunted them. They would always be reminded of the horrors that they had faced every time they looked at a painting. The end.